Good morning, YouTube family. This is for my moms and dads. Do you ever have those mornings where you get up in the morning and you feel incredibly rushed? You're getting kids ready for school, you're looking for lost shoes, nobody can find a pair of matching socks, and you have to pack lunches, and not only that, get some kind of breakfast into your kids. But that usually happens as you're running out the door and you're trying to figure, like, okay, breakfast, yeah, we were supposed to do that. So I implore you, meal plan, make it ahead, bulk bake. It's simple, it's easy, and as easy as when you have some spare time, because you know we all have so much of that. So I've dropped the kids off from school and I'm coming home and I have everything I need to make banana bread, but I'm going to make banana muffins. That way it is easy for my 5-year-old and my 15-year-old to just grab and go. So when we have those crazy mornings, they can still grab something and head out the door. Is it the most nutritious breakfast? Maybe not. But we all have those crazy mornings, and sometimes you just need to get something into tummies. So today, I invite you to join me on my journey into banana bread / banana muffin making. Okay, so today I'm pulling my recipe from one of my handy cookbooks. This is The Lady and Sons 2, and Paula Deen and her sons. Honestly, after my grandmother passed away, I still continued to cook, but there was a lot of things I still needed to learn, and I lived on the Food Network. I wanted to know how to cook from scratch. There is just something about cooking from scratch that you really feel like you're serving your family. You have put so much love and work into what you're cooking, what you're providing them. There is something about cooking from scratch that just comes from the heart. So these cookbooks are very well loved and very well tabbed. But the tried and true banana bread. So for this particular recipe, you are going to need, so to a large bowl, you want to add 1 stick of butter, or a 1/2 cup of butter at room temperature, and save the butter wrapper for later. We're going to use that. You need 1 cup of sugar. This is white sugar. You can also use coconut sugar and do a replacement. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you're concerned about the kind of sugar that you're using. I haven't tried honey with this, but it would be a large amount of honey. But I'm sure it can be done. You're going to mix the butter and the sugar together and incorporate it really well. This is called creaming your butter and sugar. You can use an electric mixer if you want, but it's really not needed. It comes together pretty quick. So just be patient and work that butter and sugar. You'll get a little workout. But as you can see, it's starting to come together. Just kind of mash it on the side of the bowl and work it. And if you need a fork to kind of scrape it off and mash it down some more, just keep mixing it. All right, to this, we are going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I am using pink Himalayan salt. That's what we exclusively use in our house. It's what I use to can with, it's what I use to cook with, it's what I use to bake with. Also, we're going to add 2 eggs. I would encourage you not to do what I'm about to do and break your eggs into the bowl that you're mixing in. Use a separate bowl, because if you happen to have a bad egg, you've just ruined your batter and have to start over again. So do as I say, not as I do. All right. Also to this, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, I am out of vanilla extract right now, so I am going to be using pumpkin spice extract.
It's what I have in the cupboard. So if you're feeling a little dangerous with your baking, try something new. I figured the pumpkin and butter would go really nice together. I don't think anybody will complain. So we're gonna get these mixed up together. And these are what we would consider our wet ingredients. And you want to do your wet ingredients first and then add your dry ingredients to your wet ingredients. Trust me, it really helps to eliminate the mess. Because I am a messy cooker, as you will see here. All right, grab a sifter if you have a sifter, and you're going to sift together 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Now I am using unbleached all-purpose flour. The recipe does not specify, it just says all-purpose flour. I use unbleached all-purpose flour and it works just great. So 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now, before, I had never used a sifter. I didn't quite understand what it was and what it was used for. And once I figured out that it was actually very important that you sift your flour and your baking soda and your baking powder to get out any clumps that have formed, I began using a little mesh strainer until I purchased a sifter. And you would just hold the little mesh strainer and kind of bang it on the side of your hand and it'll sift the flour through. But it is important to have so that you can sift out any clumps, because they're usually there, and I know usually we just throw everything in a bowl and mix it together, and that's where those little clumps of flour or baking soda or baking powder come together in your muffin or your bread or your cakes. As you can see here, there's the little clumps. Now you can push those through with your finger or you can just discard them. So it makes for a nice, soft, fluffy flour. Now we're gonna mix all of this together and try not to get too overzealous. Your flour will fly everywhere. I am a messy baker. But this will all come together. I know it looks really dry right now, but we're getting ready to add our bananas, and there's enough moisture in there to mix all of them together. This is two ripe smashed bananas. The recipe calls for 3 ripe bananas, but I only had 2. So we're gonna make it work, and I promise you the recipe will come out just fine. I usually only have 2, I usually always only have 2 ripe bananas left. I don't think I've ever made this with 3. You can also, if you freeze your bananas, you can pull those out and use them as well. Just make sure they're at room temperature and you've got them mashed up really good. Now, I'm adding cinnamon to this. This is something that I like, that our family likes. This is not part of the recipe. You can get a little crazy here and you can use allspice, you can use nutmeg. We're a cinnamon family. We love our cinnamon, but when I start getting into pumpkin bread making, yes, I start breaking out all sorts of things. So we're gonna get this all mixed together real well. Kind of clean my area up here, make room for my muffin tin. I always say that my kitchen is not made for making videos. I have a small kitchen. I mean, any more than 2 or 3 people in that kitchen and you're bumping into each other. I need more counter space. So we have our muffin tin here. We're making 12 muffins. And this is where your leftover butter wrapper is going to come in handy. We are going to use this to grease our muffin tin. I promise you it works. All my muffins always come out. I do not use the little paper sleeves. And you just kind of fold the wrapper over and go around each one of those little muffin holders. And there is enough on this wrapper to do all 12. So you're just greasing it. It doesn't need to be covered really thick. You're just adding that extra little bit of grease so that when your muffins are golden brown and ready to come out, they just slide right out. Because it's so disappointing when you make a muffin and then you go to get your muffin out and the bottom sticks to the pan and you rip the top off. So we've got all of our little muffin tins buttered. Of course, you know, as I usually do most of my stuff, I don't do it in some kind of strange order where I do one, then the next, then the next, then the next. I'm all over the place. So grab your muffin mixture, and here's a quick tip. A lot of people use measuring cups or they just spoon in their muffin mixture. I love an ice cream scoop. And you want the ice cream scoop that has the little lever on the side. So this is what I use for my muffins. It works great. It's the perfect amount and you get the perfect muffin that comes out. Now I'm a little heavy-handed here when I do this. The other ice cream scoops that are smaller and they're a solid shape and I think they're a heavier metal, or at least mine is. They're the old-fashioned ice cream scoops, and usually the ones you see in the ice cream shops. Those are great for ice cream, not for baking. This ice cream scoop is great for baking, not for ice cream, because I can't scoop any kind of amount of ice cream out of a container with this ice cream scoop. It is just wimpy, beyond wimpy. So yes, I'm being a little heavy-handed here with this ice cream scoop, and I'm going to run out of mixture, but my kids know that if I'm baking, I am going to use every single little bit of batter that I can. So you're usually not going to get leftovers in the bowl or a leftover spoon, because as you can see, I'm going to scrape this pan or scrape the bowl clean, and we're going to use all of it. And I'm going to scrape out the ice cream scooper and scrape the spatula on the side of the pan. We're going to use it all. Every little bit. Now, I'm not a horrible, mean mom. When I do have leftovers, I do share. And I think I'll borrow a little bit from this one to kind of help fill this one out. It's going to be a puny little muffin, but that's okay. It'll still eat right. There we go. Now we're going to move this to a 350-degree oven, preheated. Please make sure you preheat your oven.
So I popped these in the oven and it took about 15 to 20 minutes. I mean 17 to be exact. So keep an eye on them. You're looking for golden brown muffins. You don't want them to burn on the bottom. So if you push on the top very lightly and they spring back and they don't jiggle or are runny, they're done. You can also use a toothpick to insert in the middle, and if it comes out clean, they're cooked. Try not to overcook your muffins. Nobody wants a burnt muffin. Oh yes, that is good. Although, I am not supposed to eat these because, of course, it's full of gluten. But sometimes it's hard to resist. And these are really good. Mm-hmm. So worth it. So guys, thank you for joining me today in my kitchen, and I look forward to making more recipes with you. Until next time, I bless you on your journeys.